sett 2 grupper, varannat spel. Sen i finalen så blir det varje spel.
Är det jobbigt att flytta? Ni väljer spel därför att ni ska slippa flytta runt för mycket. Därför är det inte
Cool. Would it be possible to switch songs?
Oh, somebody's getting thrown out from me. No, not thrown out. I don't want to tear your system now. Somebody got thrown out for me. Okay, where are we?
We're waiting for a match on Game of Thrones.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay, and that's whatever camera is on us is there. Oh, shoot, I need to comb my hair. Okay. All right. And where's the camera? That's that camera up there.
Flytta in den stolen ännu längre.
We're good.
Så tar vi den stolen på pallen där.
All right, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me?
Let the chat ask a question and you can read the chat here.
Okay.
And people...
I see. Now this is all very technical. Hello, hello, hello. So far I got highs, okay. So I got to be there so I can read it, huh? So, are you coming in too?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
More the merrier.
Come on, we got plenty of room. Yeah. I'm sure. All right, I'm Gary Stern, and who are you?
I'm Jimmy Johansson.
Jimmy?
Yeah.
And you are?
I'm Alvar Palm.
Can say it again.
Alvar.
Alvar?
Alvar. Yeah, you can say Alvar.
Al. For now, Al.
Yeah,
Al for now. Al and Jimmy, right. Well, that's it. I just made you honorary Americans. So what are we doing here? Am I supposed to read that? Thanks for keeping football. Listen, don't thank me. Thank you guys, among other people. We have 3 different customers. You're going to get a picture or lecture now. 3 customers. We've got enthusiasts and collectors. We've got game operators who put games out for regular people, casual players mostly, and for you guys. And we have in America what we call rec room buyers, a 50-year-old guy who wants a pinball for his home and tells his wife it's for the kids. I got to put my glasses back on. Somebody said something about, you did AC/DC Premium or Pro last night. And I don't know what that is. Oh, can I speak about the next game? Yes, I can. But I'm not going to. We're making Star Wars, which is great. The next movie comes out on give or take December 15th in the U.S., December 14th in Dubai, all over the world. And we're making more Ghostbusters. I see Ghostbusters up there, and Aerosmith. We're out of The Walking Dead. We're got a couple Metallica Pros. We had, when I left Chicago, 7 Spider-Man in the vaults. No more Game of Thrones this year. So, we're making a lot of games in our new factory. The licensor Lucas is very protective of their license, and so you really have to make it right. So there was a lot of work to get that done, quite a bit.
What's your favorite game?
Oh, my favorite game. Let's see. When I left the factory, I've been in Europe for about a week. So when I left the factory, I went out on the assembly line to see what we were doing, make sure everything was okay. And we were making Star Wars, so that's my favorite game. Now, if you had asked me a few months earlier, I might have said Ghostbusters or something. But they're all my children. I love them all. Okay. All right, you guys are out of questions.
So there was a guy asking what your favorite pinball machine of
but I like the games we make now. If I go back, I wanted a Family Guy, but I sold the last one, if you take the old classic stars, Flight 2000 or something like Stingray, something like that, or Stars, the Steve Kirk games were great back in the day. I don't have a favorite game other than what we're making today. Are you saving for Star Wars? You got anything else? unlicensed title. Right now we make licensed games. You know, if you look at the world in general, licensing is very important. Licensing works. And actually licensing was created as to what it is today by Lucas. Because when he made the first Star Wars, as I get the story, he went to the studio, Ladd was the president, and he said, hey, you owe me money. I'll just take the ancillary rights, the licensing rights. And that was about $8 billion ago. And if you make a mouse, a stuffed animal that looks like a mouse, you're not going to sell it unless you pay Walt. If we make an unlicensed, if we make Zombies from Hell, then I call our customers in France and they say, send me 2 games, we'll test it for 8 weeks. If I make The Walking Dead and tell them The Walking Dead, they say, here's $300,000, send us money. You know, titles help with initial sale. And if the game is done right, the designer has an envelope with which to design. He has ideas. He knows what he's doing. I mean, there's a ball-eating dinosaur on Jurassic Park because it's Jurassic Park, not because some designer came up with the idea, because they looked at what the license was. In Tales of the Crypt, I tell people this, in the dot matrix display, somebody's being cut in half with a chainsaw. It's very cool. So how creative of our people. Except I saw the episode where Joe Pesci is cut in half with a chainsaw. The 2 twin sisters, each one of them, so they cut him in half. You know? So you get ideas from it too. But licensing is just—it's the nature. You go to a toy store and tell me how many of the toys in there are not licensed.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
About how to pay for games on location.
Yeah.
Games are paid for by coins, but people don't carry around coins.
Right.
Do you try to drive innovation in that area so that you can pay with your mobile phones or credit cards? Or
right
whatever?
now, obviously this is coming, and was it Sweden here is not going to have money. We sell games to China, and they don't have money. They have WeChat. Everything's paid for with WeChat. It's really not our end. It is the operator can buy a unit to put on a game that will take credit cards. The problem is what the VIG, what the percentage is, because the VENs are very small. €1 or whatever VEN, €2 VEN, and so they pay a big percentage for the fee.
For the credit card payment.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of a problem there. I know in America, Play Mechanics for their Buck Hunter has worked out a very reasonable fee when you use it for a nice game over there. Thank you, Steve. Steve Ritchie. We're selling games to China, and they pay for everything with WeChat. And I was in a whiskey bar in China, and I said, it's my turn to pay. And I tried to pay. And ultimately I did, but it took forever. And my friends there kept saying, here, let us pay, and keep sticking their phone out, because it's a cash. China is very much ahead in a lot of technologies, believe it or not, over the Western world. So what are we doing? We're providing a game that accepts a signal. And there are units available that operators can add. I know in America, a game for an operator will do 20-30% better with a bill validator, accepting dollar bills.
Yeah.
I know people who use there's a bill validator that also takes credit cards. In China, there's a little box with a little screen that goes right where the start button is, and that takes WeChat.
Yeah.
So,
but when you sell a game, the default is designed for coin input, and maybe you could change the default, or maybe you could try to develop alternatives and market them in some ways.
Those things are very addable. You add to them, and we can add, you can add dollar bill units. We have a hole in the U.S. store for that. They use it in Australia. If we were to spend the money put that on every game, these games here wouldn't need it. The game you have at home doesn't need it. The game in the Family Entertainment Center, they put their own systems in their own swipe card systems in. So we'd be adding money to a game and increasing the price of that game with something most people don't want. It should be an accessory. And that's the way it is. Sure. It's an accessory and you pick the unit that you want to use.
Sure.
But you're right. We're becoming a cashless society. Use Uber. You don't pay for a taxi anymore. You Uber everywhere, or in the taxi you use credit cards. So, your point is very well taken. But it is very easy to adapt the games right now.
That's great. Yeah. It's great that you think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the pinball narcissist asks Gary here how Keith Elvin has been fitting in so far.
Oh,
he has lots of new ideas.
Yeah, he's absolutely great. And he also, he's a competitor, as you know, a top competitor, so he knows what you guys, how you guys think, what you're looking for. He also operated games, so he understands that most of the players that the games are being operated for don't play at your level. They're casual players, and so they understand scores maybe, and they understand a bash toy, that type of thing. So it's a different level of player. He understands that, so but he fits in very, very well. We're very excited, very happy to have him.
What precisely is his function?
Oh, he's a game designer.
All right.
Yeah, he's designing a game. Playfield designer, game designer. Got a team working with him, and you'll see something from him in the not too distant future.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Good.
So we have another guy here asking, how many games in a run do you need to make to call it a success?
We make 3 cornerstone games or main games a year with a Pro, Premium, and LE. And we make, this is the long answer, and we make them a lot in the beginning, and they have a long tail. We make them for a long time, 2-3 years. As to how many will make it a success, we're a private company, so we don't talk about the number of sales or volumes or anything else like that. But we're unique in a that we're most of the market. We make many different models a year, and we also are the only company that is trying to make games for the operator too. And again, some of you all buy pros. Sometimes the pro is, for me, is a better game. Sometimes not. But most operators need pros, not premiums or LEs. It's economics. It doesn't work. Unless you have a player base coming to a bar or what have you that is an enthusiast base, the pro is what you want. Nobody else is even trying to get the operator market other than saying, oh, our expensive games are great. They're too expensive. Just as ours are often too expensive, unless you have a player base that you don't want to broaden. And all game designs trying to do the same thing. Get more people involved, broaden the player base by having the casual player added without losing the core player. If we don't have games operated by operators, if we don't make a bunch of operator games, a bunch of pros, then there will be a diminishing of the collectability and the tournament play and everything else of pinball because they won't be on the street. Nobody collects horse and buggies because they're not current. People collect cars because cars are current. People collect pinballs because they're current, but if they stop being current, whether it's licensed titles or being on the street, then people will stop collecting them over a period of time. Again, I mentioned the Rec Room buyer who played pinball when he was 20, he's 45, 50 now. He wants a pinball machine for the home. If we don't have games on the street, then when today's 20-year-old wants to buy, is 50 and wants to buy the game he played when he was 20, he's going to buy one of these. Instead of a pinball machine, and your collections will have no value, and because nobody will care about them. People collect cars. They don't collect American Model A, Model T Fords very much anymore. Because the people interested in those cars, and those are from the 20s and 30s, the people interested in those cars knew them when they were new. Those people are dead. So we have to have pinball on the street and operate it. We need pro games, and nobody is making pro-level games but us. Nobody's even thinking about it. They give lip service to thinking about the operator market with $9,000, $10,000 games. They're kidding themselves. It's ridiculous. What else we got here?
So you're seeing providing games for location is a way to increase the demand for machines for collections.
In the long term, absolutely.
But also in the short term?
In the short term too, but also in order to have, I'm going to answer this Brian Schmidt in a minute, in order to have the economics of the whole player base, the whole structure of a game, we need to make it in a higher volume. We need to make it three different ways. Brian Schmidt, somebody asked about Brian Schmidt, who was a sound designer, sound engineer, and the designer of the BSMT, Brian Schmidt music, BSMT, I don't know what T stood for. It's a chip. Brian, I saw him Saturday night, a week ago, at the Pinball Expo. He was inducted into and I was one of the people inducting him into the Pinball Hall of Fame. Just coincidence you ask about that. And besides the plaques, this or that, Joe Camico and I gave him a bottle of champagne, but he didn't want to take it in his suitcase because he doesn't check his bag. So I know from UPS it arrived at his house yesterday. So the answer to your question is yes, we still have contact with Brian. Music, something or other, mousetrap, okay. Yeah, all right, whatever, okay. Yep, that's it. And not only did we use it in pinball, some of the other, I know Bromley used it in some redemption games, it was used in some other stuff, but more than just creating a chip, he was just a great sound guy, great, for us and for Willie too. So, anything else I can tell you guys?
In designing games for the, say, advanced competition players and for the casual players, do you see a trade-off between the two, or is there no trade-off? I.e., can you design a game that satisfies both without decreasing the joy of any of the two groups?
That is the art, and it's all game design. It's not just pinball. It goes back, I know my father at Williams back in the day talked about that, but in addition, if you talk about, think about many video game designers that are trying to do that. In England, they have AWPs in bars, amusement prizes, slot machines, in many other countries. And I've read that 3% of the people who go to the pubs play the AWP. So if they can increase that by 2% to 5% of the people, think of what that will do to the earnings, unless they lose the core in doing it. So all game design is trying to make that balance, whether it be pinball, video, gambling, whatever it might be.
So is there a trade-off?
Yeah.
So is there a trade-off? By improving the game for the casual player, do you lose something for the skilled player, or can you do that in
maybe or maybe not.
Yes.
You know that there's, you don't put quite as much stuff in a pro as you do in a LE and premium. And in the case of Star Wars, a lot more because of the hyper ball. But that's a very difficult shot. That's not for a casual player. So it's really not a street game shot. It's for it's not a shot I'm going to sit there and make constantly, not me.
But I think when you have a good license and a good theme, casual players always play just because of that.
And in the case of Star Wars, great music. Great music.
Yeah, they will put in a coin, that's for sure. But will they from start find
you got to
reward, understand what to do?
You got to have.
You need to see that something happens when you hit something.
You need. That's why drop targets are nice, because they go down, you see them go down. And you make a ramp, you want to do it again. It's Pavlovian pinball. You know, you got to give the success and the reward back of knowing the success, and they want to do it again.
Yeah.
But as to a trade-off, there can be, or maybe you can build different levels in the game, not just levels like we talked about levels, but different layers. I'm going to call it layers instead of levels.
What I feel though, as regards the pro versions and the LE and so on, I feel that the pro versions are often very good for the competitive players. It's like the LE version, they are more like the extra things that are in there are more for like the collectors than for the competitive players.
Well,
right?
now we're going to distinguish between collectors, enthusiasts, and competitive players. And you're right. We made Iron Man, and I'm told in competition that's a pretty tough game.
Yeah, it is.
And it's on the street. It's a great game, even though it's fast. And I'm very happy with Iron Man. That was a great game.
I love that game.
Great game. Not real complex. Great game.
Can I ask you how do you think about ball times? I can see in this early 2000 starts all the way up to, let's say, Pirates of the Caribbean, perhaps there were long ball times, and then ball times significantly decrease. And in the most recent games, Walking Dead, for example, there are very short ball times, which I think is kind of good. I don't know, I can only speak. But how do you think about that? How does it affect your
rule of
sales?
The rule of thumb is a 2.5, 3 minute game. When the games got real complex and real long, what would happen is that one of you all would go play a game. In our country, let's say it was in those days 50 cents. So you'd play a game for 45 minutes on 50 cents, and the operator could make 50 cents an hour. I played it for 45 seconds because it was too skill-based and didn't want to play it again because it wasn't fun, it was too skill-based. So also the operator wasn't making money. You have to have short enough ball time, but again, back to that casual player, something for him. You know, he may not win extra games as much, but something for him. So it's both ball time and complexity.
Yeah.
But our rule of thumb is 2.5 or 3 minute game time.
Okay.
Otherwise, you know that game on the street won't make money, and it plays too long in your tournaments. And that's it. Listen, there's nothing probably more boring than being the fourth player in a 4-player game with 3 good players. You get to sit there and eat Cheetos and wait.
And how do you think about the amount of extra balls and the amount of free games replays? Have you considered getting rid of them completely, for example? Thereby you can reduce the gap between the casual and the skilled player in playing time.
It's part of pinball. And you know,
I understand it's a radical step to get rid of them. It's risky, but maybe it could be an idea to get down ball times among the more skilled players.
It's an idea, but we really haven't thought about it.
I think, like you say, it's a part of pinball because it's a reward. If you're a good player,
right.
you should be rewarded.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is part of pinball, but is it necessarily part of pinball? That's the question.
Listen, I know good operators that turn match off completely. And I know other operators who want to have match so they can give some to the casual player.
Yeah.
So, you know, we don't consider taking it off. But you can, an operator can turn it off. You know, it's all operators.
But they often go with the default. Everyone does. So
I know.
The default matters a lot.
Yeah, I know. That's absolutely correct. Most operators don't. Back in the day, they used to, on paper and pencil, percentage their games. Now they put them out.
Yeah.
Largely. Not all operators, but largely. So, anything else I can answer for you guys?
Yeah, we have one last question here. Will Stern release Keith Elvin's Archer game?
Again, whether we are or not, you know that I don't.
You can't say.
I don't talk about future games.
No.
A stupid legal situation here in Sweden. Yeah, I understand it's difficult, but part of it is you have a gambling market and you have a government gambling market and what have you.
That's for you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. There we go. I'm wearing it right now. I'm not putting it on. It's hot back here. You guys are sitting back here in the heat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but there's many countries that have a lot of confusion in the marketplace. Listen, in America, in Chicago, we have pinball machines, no problem. Not no problem. The barcades, which is the trend today, 20 upright videos from the 80s, easy to learn, hard to master, and 10, 15, 20 pinball machines, some of them even more. Now you see shuffle alleys, or even puck bowlers, air hockeys, what have you. In Chicago, if you have more than, I think it's 3 machines, you need an arcade license. And an arcade license has got to be in a commercial, not a business zone. It's got different building requirements. It's difficult. So of the barcades, one of them does not have an arcade license, so its games are on free play. One of the great ones with an arcade license, its games are on quarter play. So, well, why only a quarter? Because it is a barcade. Bar. It's a bar. It's not an arcade with a bar. It is a bar with a cade. Okay? Yeah. It is a bar. Instead of a DJ and paying a DJ, it's got pinball machines and paying for the pinball machine. And if they make some money, great. I know the operator of one of the barcades. He has bands too, but putting his band money aside. Food, liquor, games, and he is a gamer. A lot of his game players are players. And 15% of his income only is from the games. They're bars. And I was in the bar business. I owned a 1,000-seat nightclub, part of it, and I owned a what I call a hippie jazz and blues place in Chicago. You have to sell liquor. All right, so the games may be on free play, but they have $9. I don't know what that converts to up here.
$9 is about
8 times 9, and 9 times 9. Yeah, about 80, 90. Yeah. Beer. Beer for $9. I mean, it's not cheap. And they get it out. But they usually have 24 different beer on tap plus a full bar. They're bars, and so the games are. It's just like the old game operating business, where the games were nobody went to a bar to play games. They played the games because they were afraid to talk to the girls. So, we were ancillary entertainment. And I'm exaggerating when I say nobody. Yeah. We have pinball leagues, we have pinball tournaments in bars. We always did. You had pool leagues. People went to play in the pool league, whatever it might be. So, any event, what do we got before we get out of here?
He's talking about the game we just watched.
Okay. Then I guess you guys are on to the games. And I thank you all very much for taking the time to listen to me and let me babble on.
Much appreciated.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, guys. And I will crawl out. And thank somebody for the T-shirt.
Yeah, of course. See you around.
Thank you.
Thanks. And that was interesting.
It was indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any... Sorry.
It's not often that you get to talk to such an involved person in pinball.
No.
So it's funny to get some...
With the rich background in pinball and with the very deep insight in the current pinball industry and markets.
Okay, so there's no active match right now.
So when is the next active match?